Hello, everyone. Hello to you all. Welcome to another meeting of our dear Global Teachers Club. This time presenting here from Buenos Aires, Argentina. My name is Marcela Villan, and I will be today's moderator in this meeting with lots of people from all over the world. We have Rita Wirtz from Eugene, Oregon, in the United States. Mrs. Wirtz holds a BA in English and Speech, reading specialist, a master's in reading, an administrative services credential, pre-adult. Because of her work with speed reading, she also became a certified hypnotherapist and NLP neurolinguistics practitioner. Rita also studied brain gym. Rita is devoted towards helping other instructors by sharing extensive life-affirming experiences. Through her house calls, she provided demonstration lessons in nearly 600 classrooms with all ages, preschool to adult. Walking the talk made her a sought-after personality with rave reviews at each appearance. Besides teaching, her greatest love of all is writing. Writing is like breathing, she says. She has written a number of reading books for parents and teachers, including Reading Champs, Teaching Reading Made Easy in the year 2014. And she also published her memoir about her life as a teacher in Stories from a Teacher's Heart, Memories of Love, Life and Family in the year 2019. Rita's newest book, published in March 2021, is Reading Champions, second edition, Teaching Reading Made Easy. In addition, as featured blogger on BAM, Internet Radio's Edwards, Rita continues to bring her fresh insights to the world of education and life. There are currently 180 articles to pick from. Mrs. Wirtz reflects on her accomplished career with humility and reflections of how all working towards common goals makes a difference. Those who can, teach. Today, she will be talking about conversation about cross-content reading. Rita Wirtz, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. And for those of you who are here in the morning, good morning. If it's afternoon, good afternoon. And if it's way late, then thanks for being here. We'll shorten this up a little bit. Again, I'm very grateful to the board, to everybody who helped put it together. The behind the scenes, when you have so many people from so many countries, it's really interesting. So I can't thank you enough, Marcela, for helping me on WhatsApp to figure out what to do when we had incorrect Zoom link times and Zoom changes. So what a team. That's what I said. We're a team. So let's go ahead. And let's talk about reading. Now, we're aware that reading is always in great debate. It has been for over 100 years. People argue whether we need to do whole language or phonics. Well, this is really silly. We know that there are 5 areas basically in the teaching of reading, no matter what program you would use. And these skills don't change. It's the same for kinder as it is in adult ed and teaching English as a second language. So we know that normally we look at phonemic awareness, the sounds and letters will make meaning. That's what we're really about, is making meaning. But we start with phonemic awareness. We have phonics, we have vocabulary, we have comprehension. And of course, one of my favorite areas is teaching about rate building and speed reading. But today we're focused on only one thing because we're so many levels from so many countries, and that is about comprehension or getting meaning from our reading. So our conversation is about cross-content reading, meaning that reading is taught in social studies and science and history, and many teachers around the world were not really educated or trained to be able to do reading and content. As a university instructor for many years, 3 universities in California, and I will say, if it gets confusing, I lived in California and was a principal there, but after I lost my husband, I finally made a move to Eugene, where our daughter and family are. So that being said, I'm a mom and a nana, and I've been teaching for well, I didn't want to say it. I could be your great grandma's 51 years, and I'm not done yet. I never retired. I'm just getting started. So let's talk about cross-content reading. Marcella, let's go. And I expect everybody to participate. This is not mine. This is yours and ours.
Okay, just 1 second. This got stuck. Just 1 second. Wait a minute.
We're fine.
Because if I, no, it's okay. The problem is that if I, okay, let's see now. There it is.
There we go. So we always start with KWL. I was not wanting to make 15 or 20 slides today. So I'm just going to say KWL is what I know, what I don't know, what I'd like to learn. Our kids don't always, our students don't always know what they want to learn. But schema, sometimes called schemata, the plural, is background knowledge. So whatever levels you're teaching or we're teaching, and what age group or where we think we are, it's all one thing. We need to know what they already know before we start teaching something, or we need to build that schema. So today we're just looking at what do we think is the meaning of the word text, and then we're looking at what kind of activities. This is just our broad overview of the slides will be very clear for us. What are we doing in content areas? Are we including poetry, drawing, painting, sculpture, multimedia? So there's lots of things we can do as we work with reading and content. Stories are always fabulous. It might be fairy tales in any language, folk tales, legends, fables. And I use the word infotext, meaning it's informational text or nonfiction. And it's very important that we realize that while we're teaching reading and content, it does not have to mean just using a textbook that's online or in hard copy. It could be nonfiction, it could be, I see a typo, oh my goodness, after all that, biographies, I'm sorry, a typo, we're modeling, graphs, charts, maps, digital resources. So that's our big overview. We want to know what they already know. And we're going to be looking at doing reading activities of all kinds in all of our content areas that we possibly can. And next slide.
Okay, this will just work. It's
Sure.
a PDF. No, it's a PDF, and that's why maybe it gets stuck. Right, just if we go again.
We're doing great. I'll take any
It's
questions
okay.
as our
Okay.
participants have them also.
Oh, no, it gets stuck. Wait a minute.
Oh,
No, it gets stuck because if I make it bigger. Okay, let's see if we can go like this. And it's much better.
okay, I'm going to snag a drink.
Like that.
There we go. That's the way I had it on my screen. Okay. So what we want to talk about, and I'd like some input from board and all the participants, how is reading different and the same in various content areas? So this is where our schema or our background knowledge came in. For some of us, we might know a lot. For some of us, we are going to find out that we want to learn more, and that's exciting too. So how is reading different or the same in various content areas? Who would like to offer a comment?
Well, I can tell you, Rita, my opinion.
Yes, that's what we're looking for. There's no right answer.
In fact, I think that reading is in any area.
Yes.
I mean, you need reading, you need comprehension of reading, right? In any area you teach, whether it is content area or you read for pleasure.
Yes. Anybody else want to offer an opinion on that? All right, let's go ahead to the next slide. And that's fine. think about it. So from that last slide, I built it up, leveled it up to what reading strategies work in every content area, because there are certain things that we can do. I'll give you a few things to start, because we're here as friends. This is not a test. We might talk about making predictions before we read. We might talk about writing questions before we read. We might talk about doing a book or an article walk before we read. So that's just to kick you off. Who else would like to add? What reading strategies have you used or are you interested in that would work in every content area?
Mhm. Skimming and scanning, will they do?
Yes, absolutely. Skimming and scanning both, sure. Anybody else? Be brave, friends, be brave. It's okay, we're safe. We're here as friends.
Critical thinking.
I'm sorry, did you say critical?
Critical thinking.
Absolutely. Thumbs up on that one. What do you have in mind that you were doing?
I mean, when you read something, the students are involved in the discovering of the main issues you can find in the text. Can also share their ideas with the other classmates, and it also can end up with a sort of debate.
That's great, thank you. There's no right or wrong. That was a wonderful answer as answers go.
I guess, Rita, that we can also work with some sort of thinking routines to be able to see what students think before going to the text.
Right. Yes. A lot of times we get short of time and people just run right into the material. But it's far better to find out what the students already know. If they don't know anything, we need to build that schema or context so this will make sense. So making predictions before we read, then we read to find out if we were right. If we were right, that was great. If we weren't right, let's find out some more information, because we are never done with reading. We know, we want to know, we learn, and then we go, oh, wow, there's more to learn. We're never done. So these are spot on, great ideas to start stimulating thinking. Let's move to the next slide. How do you activate prior knowledge before reading? So let's go back to that notion that this is more direct instruction possibly, or if you're doing student-led class, project-based learning, inquiry learning, etc. And if the students are in fact, hypothetically, the leaders of the classroom with the teacher as coach, no matter what, whether we're starting a unit or a day or we're meeting objectives, we always want to start by activating prior knowledge before reading. There has to be some things that the students can attach to. If we can't teach for transfer or move it into other areas, if they didn't have a concept to begin with, therefore the meaning probably was lost and they don't remember what they read. So activating prior knowledge is big. We should be spending way more time before we read. The middle needs rehearsal strategies for memory. And then at the end, we really want to do a close and an extension as we have at the end of this session. So it's all important, but the question here is, what are you doing now to activate prior knowledge before they read? Hello, anyone want to comment?
Well, in my case, as I told you, Rita, I guess that after the predictions, okay, and the question of the prediction skills of what the reading is about, I will use these thinking skills, right, okay, in which I will see, I will activate prior knowledge by getting to know why they think that, okay, in that question of what makes you say that, or why do you think that, it's that we see the prior knowledge they have about the issue.
Yes.
Maybe by brainstorming the students, I guess. Brainstorming the students.
Yes, yes. Brainstorming is a beautiful way. There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah, I also use brainstorming in my lessons. And I
Okay.
refresh, for example, the lesson or the author that I presented the previous lesson. If it is I don't know, a novel, narrative text or something of the sort. So I ask them, what do you remember, for example, about the information you got one of the last lessons? I don't know, how do you link this information to your life?
Yes. That's where the teaching for transfer comes in. We want to do something with what they've learned. And maybe sketch notes or writing, doing a play, the students making a video, doing something with a green screen. Could be anything. Okay, let's go ahead and move to the next slide. What strategies do you use to help students know their purpose for reading, make predictions, and check for understanding? So back to where we started, they need to have a reason for reading something. That purpose for reading also will help dictate how fast they read or how fast you want them to read. In other words, is it very methodical reading they're doing? Are they able to skim through it or scan looking for a specific piece of information? And as we're doing this, the checking for understanding very often happens at the end. I'm going to suggest today that we check at each chunk of the lesson and see where they are, because if they didn't get it, then we don't want to move forward yet. We need to repeat in some way, doing it a little differently. So let's open for the floor. What strategies are you using, including checks for understanding?
Can I say something?
Yes.
Okay, some some of my students find it difficult to read in English, of course.
Yes.
So I try to divide the text into simple and easy steps. I try to concentrate on the keywords. I try also to translate the most difficult words in my language, and then I try, as I said before, I try to make a sort of connection with their life, with their points of view, and I try to I don't know how to say that, to involve them in the story, to get them involved in the story. From the point of view of the characters or from the point of view of the writer, of the author. And so they feel more involved in the story. Of course, the story must be interesting and must be useful for their life. Not,
Yes.
not touched on their life. I don't know if you can understand me, what I say. And I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me well?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
Okay.
That was really, really well stated. And I think that the big takeaway that we've already gotten this morning as a group would be the importance of connecting to the students' lives. That's where the teaching for transfer comes in again. If students see no purpose for learning something, they very often will balk. They're not going to want to do it. And also, if we think that the reading material is above their perceived level, so to speak, and they want to read something, then we just need to scaffold it to make sure they can read what they're interested in. So I thought that was a beautiful answer. Would anyone else add to this?
Rita, and what about, for example, checking understanding
Yes.
by going from more controlled activities to less controlled activities? For example, starting with a true or false or some direct questions with direct answers, and going then into less controlled questions in which they are more open, of course, right? And they can express themselves.
Oh, exactly. This all goes back to John Dewey. So we talk about Maslow before Bloom. I hear that a lot, but it is really Maslow, basic needs met. And we know we have children who may be hungry, may not have slept well, etc. So when we know our students as well as we do, if we're checking for understanding, we also have to know the context of Maslow. Are their basic needs being met, or what else do we need to do to help? And then it goes to Dewey, and Dewey talked about interest. So when students are reading things that they are interested in, that's where we get our readers from. They have to read what they're interested in. If it's something that they're not interested in, or they hadn't heard about it before, then what do? We need to build the background knowledge again, the schema, and help them to see the connections, why it's important. So we have Maslow, basic needs. We go to Dewey for interest, and then it goes to Bloom, or whatever way we want to make sure we're questioning on a lot of levels. And very often I have students write the questions themselves. You can do pair shares, partner shares, triads, etc. But we don't want to skip these pieces because we have to cover curriculum. Today, that's not the smartest thing. We need to do small well rather than attempt to make up for all that students learned. I don't like the words learning loss, but I am okay with the notion that we can accelerate the learning of our children through the excellent teaching that you are doing. Let's go to the next slide. This has been an interesting thing to think about. As I've done quite a bit of work with my dear friend Aziz Subai, the director of Everyone Academy in Morocco. We've talked a lot in those sessions about the fact that very often we're using just a book or maybe something else with the text, but poetry and other literature that will really help us understand something that we're teaching in a content area. It's not always done. And sometimes the students are speaking French or other languages. And so what are we doing? Are we offering it in their base language that they already speak at home, their native language, or what's happening? So my thought is that I needed to remind people that it's really a great way to work on reading and understanding content area through novels that fit, poetry, and any other kind of literature, stories, fables, etc. And it really hasn't been done because teachers had to cover the curriculum. And scripted programs are not my favorite. I believe teachers need autonomy to teach what they want to teach in the way that you want to teach it. So who would like to make a comment, if any, on this notion that there's other things we can do to boost content area understanding?
I can once again, Rita, you want me to talk again?
Yes.
Okay, well, everyone here knows that.
Listening and thinking.
That's it. Well, then let's see if there is another one who is not that shy. Steffi, you and me, right? Okay. My friend is Steffi. Everyone here knows that I am an environmental educator. I teach environmental management or environmental education in my English classes, because here in Argentina, I work in a bilingual school where, let's say, Spanish is the first language, right? So, I mean, I teach environmental education in the second language, that is to say in English. And I love introducing lots of topics, right, through novels or through stories.
Yeah.
One of the novels that I read is A Long Walk to Water by Linda Sue Parker, in which the story is about, let's say, African people, a girl in Africa and a boy in Africa, in, let's say, the Sudan, to be more precise, who have to, let's say, look for water, right, to survive in that area with the difficulty that that implies. Then I also teach global perspectives, and the question of the refugees, well, is taught through a novel called Refugees by Alan Gratz. Both of them are American authors, and they are really wonderful ways of introducing my students to these common issues, global issues.
That's phenomenal. That's exactly what we're talking about. But not everyone has felt as comfortable doing this. This is what I have found from talking to people from India thus far, Morocco, etc. There again, there's no right or wrong, but this
No.
seemed to open up the door for people that they could do more. Who else would like to add? I think there was one more.
I think I'd like to add.
Yes.
Okay, that's very interesting about reading, because for Indonesia, reading is the thing that really need to be improved by the teachers to help the students. Our literacy program really needs a more support, because reading is not a habit for Indonesian students, even for teachers. So the most important thing for us Indonesian are trying to make a habit to read as a habit. So giving a novels, poetry, or other literatures which are interesting for them is more important for us, because we would like to make students are interested in reading. By doing the interesting thing, maybe they can search more to get more knowledge to different areas. So really, what I've got from today, getting the strategy to start, it's not easy for us, and then still needs more hard work to make it as a habit. Thank you.
That was perfect. That was wonderful. Sometimes content area instruction is also called reading across the disciplines. And when we go interdisciplinary, it really makes a huge difference. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. I'm seeing a Zoom.
Wait just a second.
You're doing great, Marcella. Thank you so much. And why I didn't want to do
Please, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I didn't want to goof it up.
Here we are.
Team effort. Okay. How do you use digital resources to learn and share with others? And again, we're looking at cross disciplines, or mixing disciplines together, or content area reading. It's all the same thing that we're talking about. And you are all really quite expert here. So what's one thing that you're doing that is working well that you would want to share with us?
I can add, after reading non-fiction text or fiction text, I usually use a game which is called Kahoot. Have you ever heard about this game, Kahoot?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very entertaining game, and our students really are interested to play this game. So
That's a great idea. Games are wonderful, and the kids relate. Do you have issues with them having phones in the classroom? Do they have phones, cell phones?
yes, we allowed sometimes to use the cell phone, and we have Wi-Fi internet, and
Good.
they can use it. I divided my class into several teams, for 2 teams or 3 teams, and one team. For example, there are 4 students in one team and 1 cell phone for one team. For if I've got 3 teams, so 3 cell phones. And Kahoot gives us some options how to use questions like true, false, or matching, or so it is very helpful source.
Thank you so much. That's really spectacular. Again, there's no right or wrong here. We're just sharing. Would anyone else like to add what you're already doing and would like to share with the group? And again, there will be
Yes,
other
Linda.
people seeing.
Linda,
Go
put
ahead.
up her hand.
Hello.
Yeah,
it-
I would like to
It
share.
is always I don't know, this topic is really changed over sort of my career in the classroom because we didn't used to have digital, and digital now just limits you to your imagination. And some of the things that I think are most exciting is you can, once you know what is interesting to your students, you can really create opportunities through, for example, galleries or museums or different kinds of scientific or local websites where the students can actually then begin to explore. But you could take it a step further and have them talk to the people who work there. I mean, you can use, I've had students with galleries and museums talk to curators and ask and answer their questions. And, that can be done, on something, whether it's WhatsApp or with Twitter or something like that. A number of these places have Instagram accounts and things. So you can really get them excited because now they'll learn about it through, maybe they're going to read and explore what's offered in an article or a website, but then you can take that one step further with their language and ask them then to ask questions that haven't been answered. You could use those same resources to create scavenger hunts and gamify that. So I think there's just lots. Our concept of digital resources means that you can do anything you can think of.
Right. Yes, that's why I put the question in. That was a wonderful response. Last call, that was phenomenal. I mean, nothing could have been better than that to share with the group. Is there anyone else who would like to offer?
Yes, Rita, Stefania also wants to add her word.
Let's go.
Yes, well, I don't know if you remember, but I teach in an art school, in a secondary art school, and so my students like a lot to create comics about what they have read. For example, they create characters, so they use, I don't know, cartoon or digital resources like this. This is not a digital resource, but they also draw a lot. Like doing drawings about the story, about the most important characters. So this is my contribution.
That's a great contribution. Is there anybody else? Again, there's no right or wrong, and we're just here as friends talking school. School is everywhere.
Maggie, you wanted to add something?
Yes.
Maggie from Chile, she wants to add something as well.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yes. I hope you can hear me because I'm in the street, but I've been listening to you to this really interesting topic. And I wanted to add something about the digital resources that in my school, we are using these digital books. So my students, they are allowed to use their cell phones in the class. So they have been teaching me to be patient because it wasn't easy to see all my students with their cell phones in the class. But and also I've been teaching them how to use it as with educational purposes, and we have been using it. For example, when they have to read, so I project the reading. So some of them, they have been taking picture of a photo, so it's easier for them to have the text like close to them. It's easy to see what it's been projected, what they have to read, and some of them they they forget the books, but they used to forget the book, but now they don't forget the cell phone, so they have the book in the on the cell phone. So
Wow.
it's been helpful, like using the cell phone in the class, and also to play some games as well.
You know, it kind of bothers me when I see people arguing over cell phone use in a classroom, because we went through the same thing with calculators for a number of years back in the day. Teachers were told that they couldn't or shouldn't allow calculators in the room. So, you know, this is crazy to me. And the use of cell phones, as you described, Maggie, is very successful. Again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything. It's always up to the teachers, but it's really neat sharing these ideas. Would anyone else like to add to that?
I would like to add that digital resources, according to me, like now these days we are exchanging our thoughts across the globe. We are able to talk to and connect to the teachers and students across the globe. So somehow we can utilize this in our lessons as well. Like I had done something like this. There was a chapter called Scrooge's Christmas. So I have invited a teacher from Poland, and she described whatever they people in Poland, how they celebrate Christmas and all. And this really motivated the students to read the chapter properly, and they were keen to learn more about other countries as well. So digital resources, somehow Zoom, Google Meet, they have definitely helped us a lot as a teacher to enhance enhance students' interest in teaching and reading.
Amazing. These are just amazing responses. Thank you all so much. Before we go to the next slide, we're getting close to the end. For those who are at 2 or 3 in the morning, I think that sleep time might be in order. Is there anything else that anyone would like to add before we move to the next slide? Okay, Marcella, thank you. Let's go to the next slide. So we are on number 9. We're nearing the conclusion of the slide portion, and then I will take any questions and answers, of course. Provide examples. I think we've been doing this, but provide examples of class collaboration to create meaning and understanding of text, whether you're teaching in person or hybrid or remote. So I've heard a lot already. We've already heard a lot, but there's always more. Who would like to start off? I can't pull popsicle sticks. Is anyone game to go first? Marcella, why don't you go first?
Okay, well, I go. In fact, I think that one activity, I'm going to tell you about an activity that I do a lot with these stories. It's called Zoom In. The idea is once we are reading the story, we have finished reading a chapter or something like that, I make my students work in groups or work in pairs, right, in which they have to step into the story and they have to become the characters, okay?
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they have to imagine the situation that they have read, so they have to act out the story. It's something that they love. Really, when we were working remotely, we did this on Zoom, and it really worked because it was very difficult to maintain this interest in reading while we were online. And I found that this activity was really very successful.
That's amazing. Wonderful. We know that reading is about making meaning, and students are our knowledge workers, our young scholars, or older scholars, but they are scholars in waiting, depending what we do. So these activities.
The activity is called Step In. Step In. That's the name of the activity.
That's just phenomenal. That's a great idea. The bottom line is we need to get meaning. If the students are reading and they're just calling out words in English language, that doesn't do it. They have to get meaning from the reading, because that's what reading's all about.
I also use this sort of activity that Marcela explained so well. And another activity that the students like a lot is imagine another ending for the story. another
Mhm.
ending. And
Absolutely.
another one is try to modernize the story. That is, imagine the character lived in this era. What would he be? What would he do? Or if you were the character himself, how would you act? And so on. So it is very engaging.
That's wonderful. It truly is wonderful. You are gladdening my heart this morning or your nighttime. Okay, does anyone else want to add? Okay, let's go ahead and go to the last slide. We always want to make sure that when we're doing a close, whether it's a close of a chunk or a chapter or a unit or maybe a term in our schoolhouse, we always need to do some sort of a reflection activity or a closing activity. This helps cement the brain. Research has said that students remember best what they hear first and what they hear last. So we know that the middle, we need to do what's called elaborative rehearsal strategies. In other words, we do some stuff to help them understand and remember. So we've talked about the pre-part where we make predictions, we do some educated guessing, we think about what something's going to be about, and then we may write questions that will help us, not just questions to answer at the end, but questions that we're finding answers as we're reading. So once we have our predictions, our questions, we need to find out if we're right by chunking these into smaller mini lessons, 15, 20 minutes each. If you have the capability to do that, it would automatically have a set and a close, so students are likely to remember what they did. Students don't remember standardized tests, but they remember their teachers and what happens in the classroom.
Yeah.
So the follow-up, the extension piece or reflection is really important, and very often it doesn't happen. We just move on to the next chapter, the next unit, the next story. We might be late. We've got objectives we're supposed to be meeting. We're supposed to be on a certain page on a certain day, that sort of thing. But I just want to make the point that the ending is really important. So for follow-up, the question that I wrote was to design a lesson or a learning experience which may be student-led. Outcome, students better understand what they're reading. So could you give me a possible idea, since we're not taking homework or lesson plans? Is there something that you're doing besides Ticket to Leave or partner shares what they learned, et cetera? What are you doing that's working that you might share this morning or again this evening?
I would like to share that in literature chapters, I allow the students, whatever they have learned or grasped the knowledge regarding the story, I ask them to make a concept map at the end of the story. So
Great.
once we are done with the chapter, I ask them to draw the concept map, what is there in their brain, so that different kinds of concepts we get to see in the class. That's what I do.
That's wonderful. Fabulous. There was another, I think there was another person. Marcella?
Well, I can tell you, Rita, yeah, in connection with this story I told you about refugee that I read to introduce the topic of refugees with my students. When I finish, it's like a follow-up. What I do is like a follow-up of the story, because in fact, what I do is I ask my students to look for, they have to find 5 or 6 things: a song, a video, a poem, all connected with the question of refugees in different parts of the world. And so or a monument, we discovered a statue in a country that is, let's say, that it has been made for refugees, right? We didn't know that it existed. So, I mean, what I try to do is to make their minds open up a little bit, right? And go from what we read in the story about refugees and everything that they have learned about refugees to the world, right? And to see what there is about refugees about the world. It's not a closed topic, but an open one. That is the outcome. That is what they produce. and what they bring to class, and we share together.
Wow, that's amazing. Are
Yes,
you
it is.
all,
They love it.
are you, let's see, how do I say that? Are members of the group doing project-based learning in your part of the world? Is that happening? Because I'm thinking some of what you've been talking about, Marcella, is certainly
Couldn't understand you,
project-based
Rita. Could you
learning.
repeat?
Inquiry learning or project-based learning where they're doing real life things.
Yeah.
I think that this group is doing a lot of project-based learning, even if you're not calling it PBL.
Yeah,
project
we did it. We did it together. We worked in connection with the Sustainable Development Goals, and we
Yes.
did project-based learning together. Yes, we did.
Yes, yes, absolutely. The SDGs are very, very important. Okay, I had a feeling that you were doing that. That's why I rephrased it. Is there anybody else, Marcella, that you see that wants to add at this point?
I don't see hands up, but does anyone want to add anything?
We have
I'd like
also
to
done
add-
some projects with Indonesia and Malaysia with Azura ma'am and Auntie ma'am. Together we have done, and we also have achieved that British Council Award, for which
Yes.
Azura and Auntie ma'am has helped us a lot. So yes, we have done, and it was completely integrated with subject and
There we
SDG.
go. That's what we're looking at, not looking for that answer, but that's what I was thinking. And Marcella was so kind to share what she was doing. Could you repeat that one more time? Because I am aware of the British Council, and what you just said really hit home. Could you repeat that, please? About the integration, that's what I was looking at before, the interdisciplinary element to this, where we're doing it, what we've talked about, it's reading cross discipline, cross content reading. We might just say reading across disciplines. So that's exactly what you were talking about. But the way you said it was way better than what I said. Could you do it again?
Jan?
Yeah. Sorry,
That was,
pardon,
yeah,
please.
could you repeat that one more time for everybody? Because it was exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. British Council projects are projects in which
Right.
we are allowed to integrate
Yes.
our lessons, which we only have to plan in the form of action plan. So we were asked to make 7 action plans based on subjects. Like we have to integrate 3 to 4 subjects together, like English. If I say I have taken the project climate action, so I have taken geography, I have to take English. For English, I will take maybe a comprehension or adjective, maybe maths, we will take pie chart. So in this way, and computer science like IT, so how to make PPT. So in this way, we have to integrate 4 subjects. So our school and the other partner school from any of the countries, like whoever is the partner school, we both have to continue the project simultaneously, and we will exchange our work with the students. The students will exchange their work, and later on we will make a project file of the same. In this way, we have completed 7 such projects.
That's amazing. Have you written about that or shared it anywhere?
Yeah, I have a dossier. I have made a dossier of 250 pages. I would definitely love to share it with you all. Maybe some other way I can share it. It's beautifully made, a digital dossier.
Wow. And that's exactly what we're about today. As we draw to a close for our session, I'm again very grateful to the board and to the global teachers. I feel like I'd like to be an honorary member. You're all so wonderful. I'd be happy to take any last questions or comments. Again, the PDF of these slides will be available to those who want it from your
Rita,
group. Yes.
we've got some other ideas from Beryl. Yeah.
Oh, good. Before we say goodbye, that's great. Let's close with a roll here.
Beryl, please.
Wonderful.
Beryl. Oh, she has raised her hand, but Beryl, are you there? Can you hear?
Okay, if Beryl still, we are still waiting for Beryl. Maybe I can add. Oh, okay,
Yes.
Beryl now is ready to talk.
There she is.
Yeah.
Hi,
Pleasure.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
we
In
see you in.
Kenya, we do project learning. Like last time, we did some helping the needy. So what we did, we told the learners to bring the commodities, the clothes to donate to the needy. We also did agriculture, where the learners, we learned about chicken, poultry farming, which currently we are doing in class in our school. What I can say, project learning is good because it's about the reality,
Yes,
what the learners do in class, and then they carry it at home too. Like now, our learners, teaching grade learners age 13 years, our learners have skills in poultry rearing. Also, when we talk of music as a learning area, we
yes.
teach them folk songs, where they learn about different languages in Africa. By doing this, they work together, they collaborate. And
Yes.
by doing this, we are getting, I think it is the best project-based learning.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. We hadn't really talked about music. I know we went into art, but of course music. Thank you for sharing that at the last minute. Yay, that was great.
Yeah. And another thing, in
Okay,
our
Auntie.
school, pupils are
Sorry,
not allowed.
Berry. Yes, sorry, Berry. Continue.
Okay, in our school, learners are not allowed to have cell phones. By the
Okay.
time we were discussing that topic, we had poor network here in Africa. So I was not able to hear my view. They are not allowed to have cell phone in school. So when it becomes to learning through digital literacy, is only the teacher who is allowed to do the projection. It is prohibited because if you allow them to have access to cell phone, they will not concentrate in class. Okay, thank
so
you.
they think that they wouldn't concentrate because of the cell phones. Okay.
Yeah, and also poor network coverage.
Okay.
And there is one more idea from Auntie. Auntie, you want to share what you do there in Indonesia?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd like to share two interesting activities that we did with our students with two different levels. For the first level is for the lower levels like primary school, and there one foundation school in our school. With the primary school level, after reading interesting topics, based on their preference, we give them a small stage, like a place for them to talk in front of others, to share the story that they like. That is a kind of telling a story based on the reading they have read. And the second is for the secondary level. We are doing a kind of project related to SDGs, right? And then
Right.
students now are learning a book that is a very new book. The title of the book is The World Becomes What We Teach. So I think will be
Oh,
an
yes.
interesting. Yep. And then what we are doing with the students, because it's not a novel, it's not a storybook, but this is important for them to learn. So the things that we encourage the students is we divide the groups, and then they have to read the same book. And after that, they have to talk in front of others to share what they have understood about the book. They are doing two things. They learn to each other how different groups understand the book. The other things, they are trying to understand and try to share their own ideas and to relate what they are doing with the book. Okay, so there are two levels and two different kinds of books.
Wow. You're talking about Zoe Wiles' book. World
Exactly.
Right, I wrote a blog about her and I interviewed her before. She's phenomenal. So you're creating solutionaries in your classes, right? To help
Yeah, I guess
solve
it's a
the
project
problem.
also for Global Teachers Cup later after that.
Yes, well, we're all one world, and that's what it's about, is helping make a better, more loving world. And that's what your club is doing, sharing with each other. I'm so in awe of all of you.
Exactly.
Auntie, we're at a time of close.
Yeah.
If you or others would just like to comment, something I learned, something that I got reinforced, something I'm going to do in my classroom, just any closing comments that anyone might have, starting with you, Auntie, founder.
Okay, thank you very much. Really, reading is something that is very challenging thing for our country. And having the reading with you, Rita, it's a very pleasure. It's a very honor for us to be in this Zoom meeting with all of you. Yeah, with Rita, with Marcela as the moderator, and all beloved friends around the world. I think 1 hour is not enough. Okay. Hopefully that there will be another meeting that we can share uh, uh, regarding the topic, yeah, with further discussions. And then don't forget that tomorrow there will be another meeting with SEAL Literacy handled by Linda and Viola, right? It's another project that we are going to do together with SEAL Literacy and Global Teachers Club. Maybe Linda or Viola would like to add something.
Yeah, I'm very excited to share this project. So the Global Seal of Biliteracy, as a way, we have sort of 3 goals. One, we want to help students level up and improve their language skills in all areas. So speaking, listening, reading, and writing. But we also want to give them ways to sort of use their language to do other things, to for academics or for career, but also to link to different opportunities where they can use their language. And so one of the things that we're excited about, last year we and several of you participated, we had worked with Akash Patel and Happy World Foundation to bring in a native speaker into our classrooms, and we connected over 1,000 classrooms. It was 1,043 classrooms who had participated from all over the world. So this year, I just thought this group would be the most fun group to work with. And so we're partnering with Global Teachers Club to actually do kind of an e-twinning type project, and Viola's helping in that regard. And we are going to be connecting classrooms in the United States with classrooms around the world. And this is not something that classrooms in the US have done very much with. This is going to be a very new experience to them. And those of you who've done these collaborative projects will be the experts. So we're really excited to have you help in that regard, because this will be something new and exciting to these teachers. And so we, I believe, Viola, I think we have already over 120, 125 teachers and multiple classrooms. And they may have more than one classroom thus far. So we have an informational meeting tomorrow to just explain things. But if that schedule doesn't work for you, but you're still interested in participating, Viola's put the information and the link on the website into the chat where you can sign up. But we're just going to walk everyone through the project tomorrow, and I'm just really excited to see what happens with these students, because if we're looking at, we could be talking literally with that many teachers plus more than maybe one classroom. We're looking at thousands of students who are going to be able to connect with each other. So very excited. Viola, do you want to add anything I may have missed?
Well, I can add that this project is
based on the idea of twinning somehow, but ours is a bit different, and we have amazing activities. And I will not say anything more because I want you to be interested and to join tomorrow. But you can be sure you and your students will find something interesting to do in our projects. So be there, please. If not,
Okay,
then,
well, this is just surprise. Now we have to wait till tomorrow.
yes,
And
exactly.
Oh my
Marcela,
God.
Marcela, share the news, because we do have a number of Spanish and French teachers that are hoping to connect in 2 languages.
Oh, wow.
Perfect.
So that
Okay.
would be another opportunity.
Oh,
It would be great, of course. Well, how wonderful. How many, so many news, so much news. Okay, that's wonderful. I love it. I love it. Okay.
phenomenal. I'm noticing that I didn't respond to chats. When I see the recording, I will go back, and it looks like we had 36 notices on there, but I can't go that fast. I'm too slow to be able to keep up with you and hit the chat. So if you think I ignored you, it wasn't that. I just couldn't go fast enough.
No, Rita, anyway, I tried to transmit any message that was for you,
Right.
right? Okay, so
Okay.
an important question or whatever.
We're
Well,
good.
Rita, we really had to thank you. It has been an inspiring session for us all, really. Yes, and now I will just give the word to Auntie, yeah, to see if you want to close as the one of the founders of this wonderful group.
Thank you all. I just had a great time. I learned so much.
Okay, thank you. So
A
again,
big clap for Rita. A big clap for
Yeah.
Rita.
For
She
you
really
all.
deserves it.
big applause to Rita. Okay, I always remember that
Thank you,
reading
Rita.
is
Oh,
making meaning. Wow.
I made some new
You like-
friends. I know that. This is just amazing what you're doing and getting together every month like this. I just want to know who's bringing the refreshments next time. We could have had popcorn or hot cocoa for those up so late. Okay, is there anything else as we close? Auntie, back to you for our close. Little inspiration to finish off here.
Well, there's another thing to say, a big appreciation, right? Especially to Rita, and then for others also that can manage the time to be here, and having the gathering every month with different topics like this. It's really interesting and really challenging. And we are, as teachers, are good learners, right? Okay. Yeah. So keep joining and share more ideas to keep our Global Teachers Club wake up and then open our minds to improve ourselves as teachers. Thank you very much, all.
Oh,
And see you later on the next gathering. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I learned how to do WhatsApp too. So bye, everybody. Thanks for inviting me. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Okay. So, Marcela, it's yours.
Rita.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, everyone. See you.
Bye. Okay. I'm leaving. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.